Okay, the second component of your write-up will be seasonality, seasonal effects. So this graph here, shows us estimated seasonal effects. And this is what the model is predicting will happen. So the model is showing us that there are troughs here and a peak here. Now this is quarterly data. Quarterly data means it's taken every 4 years, each year, every 4 times every year. So January to March is quarter 1, April to June, quarter 2, July to September, quarter 3, October to December, quarter 4. Now the fourth quarter is when you have your peak. Peak is in the fourth quarter. And the model is telling us that it's going to be about maybe $180 million above the trend. That's how you write it. So the model estimates from this graph here, the peak is in the fourth quarter, about $100 million above what the average or trend would be. And then you have your troughs here, which are about in the same position during the second and third quarters. You can actually name the months if you want. There's a trough, a dip, a drop, and it's about about $80 million below the trend. All right, so that's how you talk about what's going on in this particular model. And you can talk about the fact that in the first quarter, it's very much on the trend, like about what would you expect on average it would be. Okay, and then the second thing you have to talk about in seasonality is if the actual years, which is this graph over here, if they're actually following this pattern pretty closely. Now there's going to be a little bit of variation, but overall, if you look at this, is this consistent data, or is there a lot of variation between what's going on in here and what's going on here and what's going on here? All right, so you've got to make that call. And what I would suggest is that there's a fair bit of variation. You know, there is years where they follow the model, but I would say this was a fairly inconsistent seasonal pattern. You know, because there's a lot of, it's increasing, that's fine. It doesn't matter that it's increasing every year, but is every year kind of following this pattern? Well, this year definitely is, and this year. But after that, I'm not sure there are any years that are actually following that pattern. So it's fairly inconsistent. And you say that. You know, it's an inconsistent seasonal pattern. Where's the peak? Where's the troughs? What are they in relation to the trend line? How far below? How far above? And that's what you talk about in seasonality.